Okay, so for today, I've just been on the call with the amazing Sam, founder, creatrix of Just Breathe Yoga in Bermuda. You want to see what a beautiful yoga studio looks like? Go hit up Sam's website, Just Breathe Yoga in Bermuda. Amazing. She's got so many beautiful offerings on the go. She's got a schedule full of killer classes. She's got like a gift shop. She's got a coffee cart. She's hosting teacher trainings. The woman is phenomenal. We were talking about work-life balance. Like, how do you actually be a creatrix of all of that amazing stuff and take really great care of yourself in the process? And one of the things that we were reflecting on was this programming, cultural programming that a bunch of us have. I want, like, type me in the chat if you have this. This somehow that we have this belief that working really hard makes you a good person. If I work really hard, I'm a good person. My self-worth is governed by how much work I do. If I'm just faffing around, that's lazy, and somehow I'm going to beat myself up about it. Can I get some sugar in the chat? Like, does this resonate for anybody else? Anybody feeling, if they're taking the afternoon off, you know what, Amy says I can do self-care. I'm going to go to the cinema in the afternoon, and you're sitting there like eating the popcorn and feeling crappy about yourself. Or, you know, do you decide that you're going to not get started? You're going to actually go take a walk this morning instead of go sit at your computer. But the whole time that you're walking, you're thinking about all the stuff that has to get done. You've got chitta vritti, the fluctuations of the mind going, even though you're supposedly on the outside self-caring. Anybody have this? Hey, Sam says, yes, she experiences this. Allison, yes, I'm afraid so. Well, I want to like burst that one today. And my challenge for us on the training today is to like actually decide that that's no longer how you're going to think about this. All of the, one of my beautiful teachers who I had the very good fortune of spending a week with week before last, time flies, Carlos Palmeida, he was talking about, we talked a lot about karma during that week of training, and what is karma and what does our tradition actually say karma is. We know that karma features in Buddhism, it features in, let's just call it Hinduism for the sake of keeping things simple, but it features in our tradition in yoga. And these days it's one of those words like guru that's just bandied around. You know, I'm the love guru, I'm the software guru, I'm the, I don't know, whatever guru. But in fact, if we come back to what does this word actually mean at its essence, it is about, and to paraphrase poorly what my beautiful teacher Carlos would say about it, it is essentially, if you think about it as far as brain science goes, karma is just about creating neural pathways and conditioning, right? And so we have the power as awake yogis or aspiring to be awake yogis to consciously change how we accumulate karma, i.e. what we're available for when it comes to our conditioning, our neuroprogramming, and making different choices. I was raised by baby boomers. My dad set up his own business. My dad was a workaholic. My dad was never home from work before I went to bed. In fact, and he would normally work at least a Saturday and maybe half a Sunday. The only time I really saw him was when he was mowing the lawn or when he was like out on the sofa with the car racing on or the footy or whatever. Like because he was such a hard worker. He was a great dad, but his way of being a great dad was like busting his chops at the office all the time. Gone before I woke up, you know, home after I'd already gone to bed, never really saw him. Workaholic. And because he thought that was the best way to be. And so the conditioning that I got was to be a good provider, to be a good person. I looked up to him. So obviously I'm modeling myself on his behavior. That's what you do. If you're a good person, you like work your chops off in order to generate the income that you desire, the abundance that you desire in your business. And because that's what I picked up as a kid, when your brain's all smushy and highly influenceable, that's when you're really available to generate all of that karmic patterning, conditioning. What is karma? In brain science, it's conditioning, go-to thought patterns, neuro pathways that we default to because they're what we use most commonly. But in fact, as an adult, I get to choose something different. I get to decide that isn't what I want to believe about that situation anymore. I get to make a different choice. I get to decide that, in fact, I'm a good person regardless of how hard I work. I get to decide that hard work isn't the same as good work. I get to decide that I can achieve beautiful outcomes without working hard. I get to decide that in order to be successful in my business, I need to deeply nourish and support myself. I get to make different choices and start to be unavailable to accumulate more negative karma, i.e. more repetition of these beliefs and conditioning that I picked up before I knew enough about myself to make the right choice. Is this making sense, folks? Like, Michelle, oh my God, hi. Danielle says, I used to think that way, but nowadays I make more sales when I step away from my business and go have fun. Yes. Here we go. Sam says, when I've been forced to step away and have fun, it's the same for me too. I need to do it more. Yes, you do, Sam. More cooking for you. More playing with your cats. Yes. Michelle's here, folks. I've got to say, I'm so excited that Michelle's here because Michelle's like my guru bye from Yogaville. So every year, God help us, why do we do this? It's crazy. Every year, Michelle and I meet each other in BFE, Virginia for a long weekend of chanting with Krishnadas, and we freaking love it, don't we? Like, we seriously cannot get enough of that weird, wacky-dacky place. It's so fun, and it would not be as fun if we weren't both there together and in front of everybody here today. In all seriousness, Michelle, I need to say this, it's totally off point for the training. I want to say Danda Pranam and a deep thank you for being that person in my life who saves me the best seat in the house for kirtan every goddamn time. You're awesome. Thank you for being the best kirtan guru bye buddy out there. Michelle also lives in paradise, so I'm a little bit jealous of her, but you know, it's okay. I get to make my own choices. She says, I work less, I enjoy life more, and I save more than ever. Right? This is how it goes, folks. So today, getting back to my point before I got totally distracted with glory days of Yogaville, the only difference between what Danny's shared, what Michelle's shared, how I live my life, and maybe if you're still feeling that the guilt comes up or the fraud comes up or that feeling of like the inner critic about you being lazy or the fear that if I don't work really hard, it's all going to go to shit. If that is still how you roll, the only difference between where you're at and where we're at is that we've decided to make a different choice, that we decided to do the work to reprogram that conditioning so that it was no longer our go-to. What does that look like? Fortunately, in our tradition, we have a beautiful sort of parallel process that I think applies really well here. That is meditation. So if you've ever done any of the meditation as taught by, let's say, like Pema Chodron or Thich Nhat Hanh, or any of that sort of meditation where when the thoughts arise, you just notice and let go. The same is true for how do you reprogram conditioning to make a different choice. So, for example, you decide to, okay, Amy did a training, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take a stand for myself, I'm going to spend an hour at lunch in the hammock on my veranda without my iPhone. Excellent. And so you're sitting there and maybe you're reading something. Can I suggest Phil Goldberg's biography of Paramahamsa Yogananda? Like. So you're there, you're in the hammock, you're reading the book, and actually you're not reading the book because you're thinking, oh fudge, I need to go back and get back to that woman about can she sign up for Wednesday and can she extend her class pass, and oh, I don't know what to tell her because it has an expiry, but I'm a yogi and so I should say yes even though it's breach of the... Every time that sort of stuff happens, just notice and let it go. Yogas, chitta vritti nirodha, right? Like it's just that. It's just a practice. As you sit on the cushion and flex those muscles about letting go of the arising thoughts, the same is true for this stuff. When the inner critic comes up and says, hey, lazy bones, why you get yourself back to the computer, do some real work. You want to be successful, you got to work hard. You can't get anywhere without grafting. When any of that stuff comes up, I don't know if that's how your inner critic voice actually shows up for you. Maybe, I don't know, maybe she whispers to you like Marilyn Monroe. I don't know, but you take my point. Whenever that stuff comes up, excellent. We don't need to judge it back. We don't need to get all attached to it. We don't need to go into a whole like spiritual bypass about it. We can just notice, let it go. Come back to now. I'm reading about Paramahamsa Yogananda and I'm in the hammock and I'm freaking loving it. Karen Buckland. Hey, gorgeous, are you coming on my retreat or not? When do I get you in Thailand? I want the Karen Buckland yoga hug in Chiang Mai. When's that happening? Sadie's here as well. You know about this one, Sadie. Type us some comments in about where you're at and this idea of working hard doesn't make you a good person. It's not to say that people who work hard aren't good people. That's not what I'm saying, but they are not correlated. You're a great person regardless. You're a great person simply because you're here. You are a great person simply because this is part of Shiva beating the Damaru, creating consciousness that looks like you in embodied form. That's all you got to do. You just got to show up and be you, and you're awesome and perfectly imperfect anyway. Yoga teaches us that. Whether you work really hard or you don't, you're still a great person. They're not connected. If you want to be successful in business, if you want to be successful in business as a yogi, you got to get this lesson. And like I've been saying, the way that you get this lesson is because you decide that you're getting it for yourself. And you get to decide that right now on this training, replay or live, I don't care. But if you are ready to snap out of beating yourself up because you're not working hard enough and step into what it feels like to actually have space in your day to have a beautiful business in a way that feels good for you, I want you to type it in right now and declare it for yourself. Like if this is for you now, I want you to like, I don't know, let's put a svaha, throw that into the freaking fire, folks, and let's choose to do this differently. Dolores says, that's me. I have only just learned to stop answering emails at midnight. Hello, haven't I had my hands on you long enough? I'm glad for you though. I want to celebrate that. Svaha for Dolores. Excellent advice, Amy, says Alison Wood. Gee, I'm sweating it, Alison. I'm glad that it's going to... Phew! I've got the okay from Umundi. Yes. Who else? Who else is going to take this? Karen says, excuse me, one of my students missed a few classes, then called me asking could she just switch all of her classes to next year instead. A while ago, I might have hesitated, but this time I said no. Way to rock a yoga business boundary, Karen. I was looking at my Instagram the other night. That's a whole other story. And I was looking at those photos of us when we went to the Donna Fahy workshop. And I like totally had my selfie stick. Super fun. Alison, Svaha, she's choosing to do this differently. Yes, you are. All right. So let me tell you about my day today. Want to know what a day at the office for Amy looks like? I'll give you the rundown. So I just had a beautiful session with a client, Sam in Bermuda. Just breathe. Follow her on Instagram. Like gorgeous. The whole thing. The ocean. Hello. I'm talking to you guys. After this, I'm going to have a little catch up with my virtual assistant. We need to do some tweaks to our social media stuff. Then I'm going to haul myself onto the treadmill for a run for a half hour. Then I'm going to get picked up. My gym buddy and I are going to go lift some weights and gossip. Awesome. More gossip than weightlifting, I've got to be honest with you. Home for lunch. Then I'm going to get my hair blown out. Then I'm going to shoot some videos. And I'm going to finish up. Might take a bath, lie in the sun, might mow my lawn. You know, that's a full day of work for me. I can't wait. It's going to be such a great day. And it's not hard work at all. It's joyful. I love talking with you guys. I love being with my clients. I love creating videos for you all for the programs that I offer. All feels great. All feels like high vibration, getting to talk about what I really love. None of it feels heavy. Yeah, you know, I've got to go do some emailing. There's some stuff. I've got to pay my gas bill. I'm a householder, but it's not taking me out of the game. And I'm certainly not going to be sitting at the spa, at the salon, freaking out about the fact that I haven't paid my gas bill. It's just there. And when I get home, I'll pay it. Meh. or my BAS or whatever, you know, they've got to pay the accountant, all of the stuff that you have to do as a householder, that's still there. But it's not distracting me from when I've decided to be in high vibration, when I've decided to say, you know what, this is my life, and it all blends together. And I don't need to try and enforce these sort of, you know, like these heavy sort of like tapas kind of boundaries that inevitably don't work anyway. If you have the belief that in order to be a good person, you really need to work hard, today gets to be the day where you make a different decision. You start reprogramming that conditioning using the techniques you already have to meditate. Great news. You've got the skills. You know how to apply them. This starts to shift. And like Danny was saying and Michelle was saying, you get to step into a different way of doing business. And here is the absolute boon. Like this is what you are going to churn out of the milky ocean that you didn't see coming. Your business will improve as a result of this. Think about it. If you've got a student who is over efforting in a pose, let's say they're doing uttanasana, right? And they've got tight lower back, they've got tight hamstrings, and their uttanasana is a disaster, and the veins are popping out on their neck, and they're sweating bullets, and there's, you know, they're sort of Kapalabhatiing even though you haven't instructed them to do it. Are they closer into the pose? Maybe. Are they working really hard? Absolutely. Are they getting the benefits of everything that Uttanasana has to offer? Highly unlikely. But if you give them some blocks and you let them elevate their spine and you help them find a little bit more anterior tilt in their pelvis because they're backing off on the hamstrings, does their pose become more therapeutic? Can they get into more pranic flow in their body? Are they starting to actually receive the benefits of Uttanasana? You bet. And the same is true for your business. If you are holding on so tight because you believe that only sledging it out all the time, sitting in bed, getting back to people, like commenting back on your Insta feed, all of that sort of stuff, if you are doing work that way, it is just like someone over efforting in a yoga asana. And it will not be until you give yourself the space, give yourself the prop, give yourself the bolster, give yourself the hammock time or the middle of the day bath or hiring an assistant or saying no to something you don't want to do or getting your house cleaned by someone else. Heaven forbid, Danny and I are on the same page on that one. It won't be until you get yourself that support and decide to think differently. I'm a good person regardless of how hard I'm working, that you will also see ease show up in your business. And I want to like do some scientific research on this one. Send me the stats. When you back off and enable more space, I believe that your abundance will go up. And I would love you to send me some evidence to that effect. If you take this today as your decision moment, if we decide to break through this grunty, this energetic knot right here and right now, give me a month, email me, hit me up. How did it go? Did you notice a difference? Are things coming in with more ease? Are you feeling more creative at work? You know, if you're holding on really tight like that Uttanasana, it's going to take you 4 hours to craft the perfect email. But if you're feeling great and you just got out of a salty bath or, I don't know, had a pedicure or like whatever your jam is, had a turmeric latte, whatever, and you sit down and you're like, yeah, man, I feel great. I love yoga. Did a 20 minutes, newsletter, gone. I promise you, you will reap the rewards and you will feel better in the process. Sam says, I've been finally getting the negative thoughts out with the noticing and going to the mantra positive affirmation. I'm looking forward to trying it with the free time thing too. Thank you. I even want to like bomb this idea of free time. What is that about? It makes it sound like it's some kind of gift that we need to be grateful for. This is your life. You know, if you think about, you know, again, if you come back to the teachings of yoga, with the exception of like Maha Samadhi, when you finally make it and you don't have to come back for another round, that's you're standing on the top of the, you know, you're spraying everybody with champagne and holding a trophy and being kissed by women in short shorts. That's that for yoga. But until you get to that point, being embodied, having a life, getting this opportunity to like experience the world is the biggest gift you can get. It's the best thing that can happen. Being embodied is awesome. Having the opportunity to experience life is awesome. Why would we only choose that this little part of time is the free stuff, but everything else comes at a price? You got to pay for all of that. You get this little bit for free, but all of that has to get paid for. It's weird, right? It's a weird thought. Why do we do this to ourselves? All of it's free time. It's free. You get time for free. Not much in life is all free. Let's think about it. What else in life is like totally free? Air, free. Cuddles with my dog, endless and free. Think about it. Let your time be, it's free. You don't have to pay for any of it. You get to decide how you use it, how you choose to portion it across a day, but let all of it be free. Let sitting at your computer be free. If something in your business feels heavy and boring and you're putting it off, decide that you're going to fall in love with it. If you're like, oh, fudge, I have to email that woman and I really don't want to, stop it. Put on some tunes, put on some essential oils, burn your smudge stick, whatever shifts your energy, take a handstand and decide that you're going to fall in love with it. You have the power, you know, you're in control. Not you, but you, the big Y you, is in control of how you feel about anything. Let all of the time be free. Alison says, I need to retrain my hubbies thinking about this. Whoa, be careful, Alison. Lead by example. Hubbies don't go so well with, I've been watching this woman from Victoria talk about like free time and being a boss in your yoga business. And I really think you need to, that might not go down so well. Joanna's here. Joanna says, I got a cover teacher last night to see from friends visiting from Australia and got 2 half-term sign-ups. So Joanna is doing so great in her business. She's really going for it. She's got some workshops coming up. She's really filling up her classes. She's really upped her game on the visibility and being out there in the public eye. And I love this. Her friends were visiting from down under. And yeah, so she got a cover teacher, and as a result, more space, more joy, more flow, more money. Yes. Loving all over these comments. Sam says, thank you. I definitely am taking this on board. Woohoo! Can you tell Amy's on a hump day high? Like, going for it. Evangelical Facebook Live. You're welcome. All right, come on now. Tell me, who else, like Alison, is going to commit right here, right now, to stop, to just decide that I'm no longer available for that karmic pattern, that conditioning that I might have got from my parents, or I might have got from, you know, my schooling, or I might have picked up along the way from society. I'm no longer available to equate my self-worth and availability for success with how hard I work. I want to know. Type it in. Who else is up there? Robin's here. Hey, Robin. Robin says, I now have a full chair gentle yoga class after I just let go. And the women that are coming, they love it. Robin, far out. Ever since I saw those silver sneakers of yours, sister, I mean, who am I kidding? For the first time we spoke, I thought you were one of the coolest women out there. So yes. And I got to say, I love, Robin, that you teach gentle chair yoga, because fudge. I mean, talk about unlikely, right? I just love it. I love that you teach that. But awesome. Good for you. Jamie's here as well. Folks, you're all here today. How are you going, Jamie? What's going on with you? You snowbird? I want to get a catch up from you. Robin says she totally has just started reading the book I recommended to her, which was Sacred Success by Barbara Stanny. If you want to do some abundance mindset stuff, I think, Robin, if you'll agree with me on this, I think it's actually written for women. So it's like fairly highly feminine encoded, but it's still a great book. Jamie says, I am on it. Yes, Svaha. Jamie is doing it. Robin says, oh, thank you. Seriously, I want to see that man coaching stuff. Like, I think you would be the best coach for a man. Anyway, I could go on, but I won't. Yes, that's right. Robin says, the tatted up ex-soldiers with all her grey hair lovelies. Yes, that's right. The tatted up ex-soldier. That's, see, I told you you were cool with all of your grandmas doing chair yoga. Seriously, there's some seriously good social media content to be taken there, Robin. Oh, Jamie, celebration. Jamie says it's the grand opening of her studio this weekend in Florida. Jamie? Or up north? How exciting for you. Wow, can I come and teach? Yes, this is awesome. You guys are just so inspiring. So can you see that, you know, let's face it. I was overshare alert. I was thinking last night, I just met this new person who has a corporate job, and I was thinking last night, maybe there was a time when I was a commuter and I would, pack my lunch and pack my bag and get on my bike and ride into Melbourne and do my thing in the CBD and whatever, go to drinks, whatever, after work, ride home again. And I was thinking, maybe I missed that because it was reliable and it was consistent and there was a pattern and I just knew what to do. And I really loved riding down Collins Street in peak hour and like screaming at people who stepped out in front of me, like, that was my thing. I had a cool bike and maybe I want to go back to being like that. And I sat with that for a minute and then I thought, like, what drugs are you on, Amy? Are you for real? If we wanted to be robotic, if we wanted to have to do the same thing every day, regardless of how we actually felt, we would go back and get a job, because hell knows it's easier to get a salary, right? I can skive off and do something else. I'm actually on eBay right now, but they're still paying me. You can't steal stationery supplies from yourself if you're a solopreneur. A stayer. I'm not recommending that you steal stationery if you still have a corporate job. But you get my point. Like Alison, she left her corporate job, months ago, Alison? 6 months ago? It takes a whole lot of courage. It takes Hanuman ripping the chest open and going, actually, this is my truth. This is my dharma. This is what I'm actually about. It's much easier to stay in a corporate job. I'm not saying that it's easy to work in corporate. All you corporate people, don't send me hate mail. But to decide that you're actually going to go do this for yourself is hard. And so why do we do it? Because the boons are so great. Because you get to do things like we are doing right here. Decide that you're going to do life differently, that you're going to work in a way that suits your rhythms and your flows and your cycles, that you're going to accept that probably for most of us, there are days of the month where actually you don't do anything at all, because that's not where you're at with your energy flow. And there are going to be days where you get up at 5 a.m. and you sit at the computer and you're still there at 8 p.m. and you've forgotten to eat anything and you could care less because you are having such a good time doing what you're doing. These are the boons that we can receive if we're available to them in deciding to be professional yoga teachers and create an abundant yoga business, when we let go of the karma, the conditioning that tells us that working hard makes you a good person. So I am so delighted and excited for everybody who is up for this challenge with me today. Okay, Yogi Superstar, let me ask you a question. Have you registered yourself yet for retreat? Back in Thailand in January 2019 for the Abundant Yoga Teacher Retreat. Think business, training, yoga, amazing new friends, killer food, beautiful place to stay, lots of time to work on your business, rest, relax. Have a great time. Come, register. Here's the link.